Houston, we got a problem. He just whooping y'all. I don't even know what to say. He want to beat everybody by 40 minutes. I ain't know what was going on. I'll just straight up tell you. Truthfully, we need to thank Kristen Craig. Hunter doing his thing like, we're just going to do it from Glendale, so let's get into it, people. What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy JS7, and we back for another episode of the Rewind Show, baby, all the way from Arizona, Phoenix, Glendale, huge stadium, where we saw Ken Roczen do his thing, look good all day. Ken's looked good all year, so that wasn't surprising. What was surprising is seeing Eli go down, but after watching him go down last weekend, I guess it ain't that surprising, but it was good to see these guys. There was a lot of action. Track looked phenomenal, but at the end of the day, it was Mr. Ken, the German chocolate, to do his thing. And, oh yeah, hey, Deegan, he won again. Dominant. Even though the kitchen looked pretty good, Hayden Deegan was still gone, and I don't think he cared. I actually think he said he didn't care, but nonetheless, it was good to be out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So you know what we got to do, people. Round 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever round we are, we're just going to do it from Glendale. So let's get into it, people. So last week coming into Houston, it was the first football stadium that we came to of the year. It was nice to see a huge layout. We had those guys, a bunch of 180s, some rhythm sections. Track looked fun. So going into Arizona, I know I've never raced at this particular track, this particular stadium, but it looks like one of those fun tracks. Huge floor. They always try to open it up, really long start. So you knew guys like Eli Tomac, beast mode, whatever you want to call him, ain't beast mode this year, but he feels pretty comfortable. And the fact that I think he actually moved out there. So looked like a good layout, looked like a really fun racetrack, a bunch of 180s, had a pretty cool whoop section where it was really speed determined. You can go as fast as you want to. Overall, I thought the track looked pretty good. Seemed pretty good, the race. The only sketchy part for me, I hate it as a rider, is when you have a start and then you have an immediate whoop section, a rhythm section, where these guys, you got a lot of indecisiveness. I think there was one of the races where a guy almost got landed on, but these guys are professionals. They try to do their best. But overall, pretty basic track as far as there really wasn't nothing that was really separating those guys, except for just charging hard into it or really blitzing into woods. But overall, again, it looked like a fun racetrack. That being said, I'm going to just jump into it. If you've been watching the show all year, which you have been, if you're watching this one, you most likely have been, hopefully to all the new viewers. Hey, by the way, you've been hearing me talk about Ken's been around really good all year long. So to be honest, I know he loves this venue. It really wasn't surprising that he won. Ken's looked good. And particular what was going on with his team. Shout out to Larry Brooks, man. I hope you feel better. Get well soon. We're praying for you. Ken had a lot of motivation, but Ken honestly had to just continue riding like he normally did. And that's exactly what he did. He saw the opportunity with Hunter Lawrence there. I think Ken understood that maybe the San Diego, if he would have got around Hunter a little bit quicker, maybe that race would have changed differently for him. But nonetheless, Ken was just on point. He looked like he was really had the good flow in the racetrack. And like I said, he didn't really do anything that he hasn't done all year long. Ken's look really solid. So there ain't really much time to spend on him yet because Ken's been doing his thing, and I was glad to see him out there. One thing with Ken this year, I've seen him be able to come up to the pack, and there is something different about him. I don't know exactly what's really changed. I mean, I guess there's nothing different about Ken except for he's racing differently. His biggest thing has always been at the end of the season, but I said this earlier. I don't really think that's going to be an issue. I think Ken's in a great spot. And considering with Jason being on this team, I said at the first race that I thought maybe it would help him in the sense of just helping set up the bike. Jason's been running really good all year long as well. So, at the test track, Ken has another guy on the 450 that if he doesn't show up, El Hombre, he ain't afraid to take somebody out, including a teammate, which he hasn't took him out yet. But Ken would have to just show up and ride. And it would just make the team, or to elevate the team, having a champion, which is Ken's trying to get there. Jason is there. He's won a championship before. So I thought it'd elevate the team, in which it has. So what you're seeing is a team. Ken just looks different because I think it's just the circumstances around him that just elevated, and it's really good to see. And like I said, his teammates run really good. We see Coke 45 out there every once in a while, so overall, Ken looks solid. And like I said, it really wasn't surprising that he did what he did. He made that pass on Hunter, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Eli's still the best guy. All right. I know he finished where he finished at, and last weekend he finished where he finished at. Truthfully, we need to thank Kristen Craig. We need to thank Eli going down in the first corner. We need to think what happened last weekend. Eli decided to go over. I know it's the Olympics and all that. He decided to do his best flips and all that. We need to thank him for that because Eli has gotten better every race. You can go back to even Anaheim too. Okay, yeah, he was off compared to what he's been, but even that showed me a lot. He just looks solid. San Diego was huge for him. Anaheim 1 was huge for him. These last 2 weeks, Eli should have won. As deep as his field is, you can watch Eli and he's still better. Like he's still better than the rest. I mean, that heat race, dude, dude was having fun. There was a part, I think it was the first lap, he comes around right before the finish line. And I said this earlier this year that Eli looks big on the bike and he looks in control, like he's riding the bike. The bike's not riding him, he's in control. And as a rider, when you're in control, you don't have to work. Like when the thing kicks out, you can grab it, you can save it. And there was a part right before the finish line in the heat race. Eli loses the rear end in that sand section. Just watch what he does. Like he's wide open. He just pulls the bike back, like manhandles it. And he actually looked like an adult on like a 110. That's how he's riding. Like he's in complete control. And when things step out, he just pulls it back. It just looks like he is having fun. And he makes it look like that bike is fun to ride. Consider the way he's riding, Jorge's riding. They just found a really good niche over there. And you got to give Eli credit. And I talked about him a lot last weekend. Not going to spend too much time on him, but Eli still is the best guy. Even though Hunter Lawrence has that points lead, like the gap between Eli speed wise and everybody else is close. Like it is close. Like I said earlier, Ken is going to win some races, which he did. Hunter's going to win some races, which he hasn't yet, but he will. But when it comes to the way comfortable, and I guess when you're sitting on the gate, that confidence, Eli is still head and shoulders better than everybody else. And thankfully for us as fans, he really, if he'd have won these last 2 races, it would have blown this championship over because I think just the confidence that he's showing, even though he hasn't won, he would have just gained those points. It would have been a long shot from everybody else unless he does what he does this weekend. And that just straight up and down, Eli is still the best guy out there. When he goes down in the first corner, what told me that Eli was just at a different level and where his mindset is, I saw it in that heat race. It's almost like he's getting upset because he ain't winning, right? Said last weekend that when he makes those passes, like he's like, man, move, like you in my way. And that was something different that we haven't really seen. I mean, yeah, Eli always passes people and all that, but it's just different this year. It's like a confidence. And he was doing that last weekend when he needed to make the passes. Well, when he goes down off the start, we all thought he was hurt. Like we thought he was hurt. Like he was laying on the ground and then he was kind of took him a while to get up. I actually think what happened was that Eli was so pissed that he went down in that first corner. It was almost like I said this years ago with Cooper Webb. Like just the difference when you're racing for a championship and when you realize you can't win that championship, it's a whole different mindset. And I talked about how guys that expect to win when they go down, just their hustle on getting up compared to a guy that was like in 5th place or I don't know, 5th to 10th, whatever. Their hustle is different. They go down, they get back up because they know, it's hard finishing these top 5s, but when you're on that level of you're feeling so good, you're ready to go. Bike's good. You're going to win this race. Ain't nobody in this field. And you know that in your mind. When you go down in the first corner and you realize I can't win, you're like, oh, hell, man, I'm over it. Funny enough, that's the way Eli looked to me. Like, that's the way he looked. And at first, I'm like, man, is he hurt? But then I could just tell by his body language. Like, he got up, he pointed to a bike that was his over there. And he just kind of walked over there. And it was almost like he forgot that he was in a championship. Then he like start getting up, riding around. He was like, oh man, Jay probably put on that pit board like, hey, boy, don't make me call RD5 out of this joint. Ryan, come out here, give you the business. Eli was like, all right, I'll go up there. And he started racing. And he had like fast lap time or was up there. He got back to speed. But when he got up, just that hustle, he was like pissed. And then when you hear him after the race, he was mad. Like he actually thought what happened with Craig. Like he was like, oh yeah, Kristen like took me out. We all as riders know, look, man, like when you don't get a jump, anything goes back there. Like dude falls over, like you can just get knocked down because of somebody else falling. That's what happened with Eli. You don't really think that somebody went in there, especially like a guy like Christian Gray, just gonna go in there and Vince freeze you. Even though we'll talk about Vince in a minute. Everybody else is mad at Vince. I don't know why they was mad at Vince. Vince is modern day Kyle Lewis. Vince is all about getting that start. Only part about Vince, well, I'm gonna say that for a minute. I'll continue on Eli. It was just like he was mad. And then Jay did whatever he did and he got back in the rhythm. So it was good to see him out there, circulating and running fast lap times. But I think a part of Eli was just like, man, I'm over it. Like, I'm mad. Like, I can't win. I can't believe these fools going to fall in here. You know who I am? Eli Tomac. I'm the guy this year. Just like when he's like stuck behind somebody, stuck behind Cooper Webb or somebody. It's like he's coming in like, man, move. That's different. Good to see Eli back up there. He's still the best guy. I don't think he's too concerned about the points at the moment because he still feels comfortable. He was still fast. The one thing that Eli's doing is that there's a point of the race that where you can break the other guys, right? Like, you pass them and you throw in a half a lap or a lap and a half. You're trying to break their spirit, right? You're trying to make them say, all right, whatever, bruh, I'm going to finish where I'm at. Well, what Eli's doing is allowing guys like Cooper Webb, which 2 weekends ago, Cooper Webb was basically saying to himself that, man, I'm kind of over it. He didn't say he was over it. He said it was going to be a long shot. He's allowing that dude to stay around because even though Cooper Webb is, finished third this weekend and all that, as I talked about Cooper, it was like, hey, he's not. Yeah, last weekend he won the race. It almost delays what was going to happen because I didn't think Cooper rode anything differently. But Eli's allowing him to still be like, all right, well, hey, man, well, if you're going to let me be in this, then, I'm still going to do it. He's still gaining those points, even though Cooper understands that he's got to get better to beat these guys. And so thankfully, Eli's allowing that. He's allowing Hunter Lawrence to just be consistent. And then once Hunter gets going, then Hunter might start racking off these races and winning. He's allowing Ken Sexton. He's allowing Ken to continue that belief that Ken's going to be a problem throughout the year. He's even allowing Chase Sexton, even though Chase is struggling right now. Chase ain't that far back in points, and we know how he is. If he gets on the roll, he's still faster than all of them. Eli's allowing that, and if he was just these mistakes, and that's probably what's really upsetting him, is that he knows that. Like, he knows that he can really be frat partying right now, just balling out because of how he's riding, but mistakes is allowing these guys to continue to believe. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a huge weekend. Now, I think going into Seattle, the pressure's back on Eli to step up. The one guy that Eli does not want to beat him, I'm not talking about Hunter Lawrence. He don't want him to beat him either. I'm not talking about Chase Sexton. I'm not even talking about Ken Roczen. He does not want Cooper Webb to beat him at Seattle. I think it's a championship or bust kind of mode for Cooper Webb as far as believing that, okay, now we're back on the East Coast. We're going to get on the East Coast. We're going to get a rutted track. Seattle is more like that East Coast. And when these things get nasty, like Cooper Webb style, Cooper can go in there and beat Eli there, whether Eli falls or whatnot, and really gets that belief. If Cooper can somewhat do what he did at Houston this weekend in Seattle, those guys are going to wake up like, damn. And the one person that's going to wake up like that is going to be Eli. He might like, look, you go to the store, you get them diapers. I'm going back to Colorado. Who knows? Because that's the one guy you don't want to keep going. He's Cooper Wick. I said last weekend, he Cooper Wick. When he dies, he don't die. We go to his funeral, we throw flowers on there. He's still alive. He's still alive. So it's going to be a big weekend for Eli to bounce back as far as just making sure that dude don't win. He just don't want that dude to win. The other guys, he feels like he still has that. And so it was thank you, Eli. It is beautiful to watch how dominant you are, but it's also you're keeping this thing interesting the way, some of the situations going. So at the end of the day, like I said, he's still the best guy. It's going to be up to those other guys to continue that belief. But I do believe it's a huge weekend for him and Cooper Webb moving forward. Since I'm talking about Cooper Webb, let's just hit him real quick. Last weekend, yeah, he won that race. But as a rider, you can win the race. And even though he didn't win the race, he didn't win any of the races. He won the race. Like, it's cool. Trust me. The accountant loves it. The check loves it. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they like it. You like it. But you knew at some point, I got to get better. Not only do I have to get better, I don't have to just beat one guy. Who blowing up my phone like this? I'm sorry, people. That's like, doom, doom. Can't stop it. You got to beat too many guys. And Cooper understood that, and I think that's why he was really happy last weekend. But he also knew that, look, I probably rode the same as I have all year. And it's fitting that I won this race without winning this race. I got to figure that part out. Cooper was going to have to jump too many people because this weekend we thought, oh man, Cooper can stay there. Like he's going to be a problem. Well, Cooper stayed there and those guys just start riding away from him. That's why I said last weekend that, hey, Ken's better. Like Ken was, if it was different circumstance, Ken might, held him off because Ken's riding at that level. Hunter's riding at that level. He knows that Chase is struggling. Chase is doing whatever Chase is doing. And then Eli's on the ground. Cooper understands that he has to get better. It was his worst track, his worst venue last weekend at Glendale. I don't necessarily think that's more of a mindset. It's not like that particular track, the way that track was. They're all different. Every year you go to it, it's a different layout. So the fact is that track was high speed. Ken can do his thing. It's not necessarily his because it doesn't break down. So given the pass, which Cooper was really happy for that third place, I think if Cooper can come here, it's a big weekend for him, for himself mentally. If he can come in and win this race or really compete, then I think we'll see a Cooper Webb really fighting for this championship. But if he ends up at one of his best places, ends up finishing like he did, like a third place, and loses points to Eli or any of those other guys, Cooper understands that, man, it's going to be a long year. But you never count Cooper Wick out because, again, he died. He never dies. We go to his funeral. We never been there. It's like it's Cooper Wick. So I was going to say something, but hey, at the end of the day, you know what it is. So Cooper Wick. Hunter Lawrence. Solid. I will say this weekend, I talked about it a couple weekends ago that the one thing with Hunter, people was talking about his opening lap speed. It was a little off. And even this weekend, I would say those people have more merit this weekend. They got more of a leg to stand on because I don't really think it's his opening lap speed. I think the way Hunter's riding is the way Hunter's riding all race long. Maybe those other guys, they bring down their level so Hunter stays the same. But nonetheless, said a couple weekends ago that there was like when Hunter hits things, there's a slight hesitation to it. Like there's a slight pause, like inner notes. There's a slight pause, and it's small. Like it's really small because at the end of the day, Hunter is still, once he gets going, he's just as fast. He can close in on these guys, but it was a slight hesitation to like when he hits things. Well, this weekend, when you watch him, and there's a point where Cooper Webb's behind him, and even with Ken Roczen, that hesitation, that's what I'm talking about. When Hunter goes through like the rhythm sections, I think it's like the first or second lap when Ken's behind him, and the rhythm section that's going before the mechanics area. Just watch when Hunter's going, like it's speed throughout. I guess in the transitions or whatnot, it's okay. But when he's going into stuff, it's like he hesitates just a little bit. And then when he's jumping, if you notice, like Hunter almost jumps in. Since we're watching the Olympics, I'll break it down to them. When those the people who go to the downhill skier, they jump and they try to jump the distance. How they have to extend their body out like that long jumping. I think maybe it's long jumping or long skiing, but you guys know what I'm talking about. When Hunter jumps through the rhythm sections, like he does that a little bit, and it was really obvious this weekend with that longer rhythm sections compared to when you watch Roczen. Like Roczen is behind him. It's like he goes through things. A couple weeks ago when I was talking about it was after the finish line at Anaheim 2, there was this right-handed kind of sweeper thing, and there was like a triple. And I was saying, look at Hunter. He's going up like he wanted to make sure he was in that rut. Everything was all right. He goes up. Ken goes through it, and he closes in on him. Well, this weekend, Hunter got beat because of those things, like around the racetrack. And when I say it's small, it's really small because Hunter's still on pace with those guys. Like he's still able to, I think Hunter's mid corner speed is really good. He's really good in a lot of places, but this weekend, because of those long rhythm sections, that part was exaggerated for me watching the race. And I think that's where Hunter lost the race at. It was just those small things where Ken, when he's comfortable, and some of these other guys, like especially Ken, man, he's able to move his body around and just shoot forward. Well, this weekend, when you saw Ken behind him and even Cooper Webb, like there was areas that Hunter was up in the air and Ken was moving forward. And like I said, it's really, really small. But when you add that up around the racetrack and then you add up how good these guys are and how close they are, that that little bit makes a huge difference. And when you look at the end of the race, that's why Hunter only finished a couple seconds behind Ken, because I'm talking about small parts. But when you make passes on dudes, it's a big thing. And when you're so close to somebody, it's a big thing. Speed is in these rhythm sections is a winner. And when you don't have a lot that separates these guys on the racetrack, everybody's jumping the same thing. Where are you going to make up time at? Not like these guys are scrubbing. It's not like Ken scrubbing all these things. Hunter scrubs the same way Ken does, like through certain parts. Like there's a jump that needs to be scrubbed, Hunter scrubs it. There's a jump that needs to be jumped, Hunter jumps it. But in that air, when you see him kind of stretched out like those long jumpers and that slight hesitation, that's where I was talking about that. Man, that's the only part that I can see he has to continue to work on. Now, I don't know if that's a bike setup. I can sit here and try to point out, be like, oh, yeah, his bike looks like this. And it kind of does. But at the end of the day, if that's the part on the racetrack that you're struggling on, then you have to get better. I've seen his brother ride. You know, his brother does it differently. Even though they ride a lot, they ride a lot differently. They look the same, but they ride differently. So Hunter that was his issue this weekend, and he was still solid. So he's got the red plate. There's gonna come a point to where all those guys, they're gonna be tight in points. And just like I said with Cooper Webb, as a rider, if you guys go down to I almost said Vegas, but Salt Lake, championships on the line, and Hunter has the red plate, Ken's only a point, it's winner take all. You need to be able to feel like you can beat that dude straight up. And I know Hunter in the back of his mind, he knows he's good enough to do that, but he hasn't done it yet. And when you look at Eli's pissed. He ain't winning. It's like he's over it because he ain't winning. Ken's starting to get that confidence, but Ken's been riding really good all year long. Ken's been at it for a while. It's going to come a point where you got to have the belief that when they're on and I'm on, I can win. That's what Hunter's going to have to do, because some part this season, he's not going to be able to be consistent. Like, yeah, you can be consistent and just hope things continue to happen. But I believe you're going to have to go out there and have the belief that you can just straight up beat these dudes. And no rider wants to be, man, at least I'm like, I didn't want to have to wait for luck to win. I had to deal with that a lot of times with Ricky. I'm like, man, if you get the whole shot, I'm just focused on second. I'm focused on second. But sometimes he would get a bad start. I'm like, man, damn, because I knew he gave me an opportunity to win. But at the back of my mind, I never really believed that if we just straight up went off the gate and he was 1 and 2, I didn't have the belief that I can beat him for a long time, especially outdoors. And so that part plays with you as a rider. You almost start waiting for the guy to come get you. And then you be like, all right, tactically, I'm going to have to outsmart him. I'm going to have to cut him off. I'm going to have to do this and hope that he goes flying into a boat. That's what I'm going to have to hope, not just like, hey, I'm going to just straight up beat him. So at some point, Hunter's going to have to do that. But yes, he's doing a great job. Now he's got the red plate. Now he has an opportunity to really put a dent. Like if he can come out and start winning these races, then the whole dynamic, how good Eli is, it's going to change. It's going to change. I believe the reason why Eli is still so confident is because he done beat all these dudes straight up multiple times. He knows he has the speed, and he knows when he's on, ain't nobody going to beat him except for Chase Sexton. But Chase is doing what Chase is doing. That's the part where when you watch Eli in that interview, that he's more like pissed, and he's like, man, I went down. Kristen went down. I'm over it. This guy cleaned me out. I'm so mad because he understands that I'm better than everybody else, and they know it. Hunter's going to have to get to that point, which I believe he will. But now it's that time, because not only you got to worry about Eli's helping all these other fools out like Cooper Webb and keeping them engaged, and Chase Sexton. So he's bringing all the bunch in here. But Hunter overall is doing a good time. Now I think he's warmed up. It's time to start going and win some races, and I do believe he will. Now, since I mentioned Chase Sexton, look, last weekend was last weekend. Said it was like I haven't seen that guy out there. Sometimes when you have just a lot of speed and you're fast, but you're struggling with the motorcycle, sometimes the best thing for you is just like a solid fourth place, right? No crashes. You're just there. You're it's almost like you're building that confidence. Like you drop down to the bottom in your mind, can't get no worse. but then you just ride and you have some steady laps. And even though you're like, man, I don't, this isn't normal for me, it's weird. You can find confidence in just staying up and just having a good ride to where it's like you almost bring that expectation back down. Like everything going into the season with Jet being out, Chase on a new team, win today or die trying. That's how it was. Not saying that Chase's mentality is that way or his mindset, but that's how we viewed it. Like he should be winning. Like he should be winning. The now we're like, man, what's wrong with him? Because he ain't winning. And now we're like, what's wrong with him? Because he ain't even showing the speed. Like something's off. So sometimes it's just like bringing that almost like when a guy's sick. And then you're like, man, he ain't gonna do nothing. The team, like, he ain't gonna do nothing. And then the dude goes out there and win the race, like has his best ride, or finishes that podium and gets on the podium and collapses. That's the mindset. And sometimes that would help Chase. Well, I don't think that's helping him because that's kind of what he did this weekend. He just rode. I'm not going to go too much into it because I've been there and I know it's hard. And I don't want to make any more pressure or bring up something to these guys because I wish guys wouldn't do it to me. I hated watching the media, especially when I was stuck in the rut, when I was mentally just like trying to find myself. So I don't want to make it worse for Chase, but I got an obligation to my people. So to be like, hey, tell the truth. And y'all know how I just tell the truth. Yeah, I don't really know, right? I I just know it's hard for a man. And again, I've been there and I hate it because I've been there and I know how hard it is. I just hope he, for all our sakes, that he figures it out. Because to me, the bike don't look that bad, right? Like the bike don't look that bad. It didn't look that bad kind of all year. Like they have struggles and maybe his struggles maybe a little bit more, but when you offset it, like I mean, it's Chase Sexton, dude. He can ride around. He can do what he did this weekend. This weekend looked like to me he was just out there riding. It was a combination of what happened last weekend. It's just that for to me, it looked like he just decided he wasn't gonna fall. Like he was just like, I ain't gonna fall. I'm gonna just ride around. And the reason I say that is because the difference between one thing as a rider when you're so talented like Chase and all these guys are, they can ride around a situation like their bike, right? It's a hard spot to be in because they're so good. Like we can ride around things to make the bike don't look that bad, right? So Chase is so talented that he can still go out there and put in a fast lap and actually go fast to the point to where we as the fans would be like, man, it's him. Like it's him. Something wrong with him because look, he can go that fast. He can go fast. Look, he can set a pole. He can look like he did at Anaheim. He can win a race. But mentally, as a rider, man, that is really hard to do. So when you've never been in that spot, it's easy from the outside to look in and just point it all with him, Chase. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it is on him. Like it is on him because I'll sit up here and say if I thought the bike was bad, I would straight up say it. Like there's some bikes out there, actually none of the bikes out there, but there's been times where the bike's been held. Like my '05 Kawasaki, I love Kawasaki. It was one of my favorite brands, but hey, my old not 2010 Yamaha, when they backwards frame, they had JS backwards. I was flipping, turning. I didn't know what was going on. I'll just straight up tell you. But it's not that situation. But in Chase's mind, it is that situation. And so back to my point, outside looking in, when he does these fast laps, you're starting to look at him like, man, he ain't trying. And it almost to me, it looked like Chase was in that spot to where he's like, the only way I can really show the world or whatever he was trying to do. And again, I'm just sitting here on the outside. It could be not this at all. Like I'm not saying he did this or whatnot, but to me, it looked like this. And the only reason I said it's almost like he's trying to show the world that I'm not going to use my skills to overcome how bad I feel on this bike. Like whatever is happening with him. And like I said, from outside looking in, it doesn't look that bad to where I see Chase rolling around in like seventh place and not really making moves. And what he did last weekend to where he just disappeared. The bike ain't that bad, but it doesn't matter what I think. It's a feeling that he's looking for that he doesn't got. It's almost like he's saying that, you know what? I'm not going to use my skills to override this. I'm not going to put in that fast lap times because I'm uncomfortable. And by showing this speed, because I'm a racer and because I want to win, it's almost like he's limiting himself to make sure he doesn't put himself in a spot to where he's like, should I go for it? Like, I don't want to put myself like I was in Anaheim where I'm up front, I get a star or whatnot. So I'm up front. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try to win because I want to win. Chase to me looks like he's in that spot. And again, the reason I say that is because when Aaron Plessinger was behind him or he made those passes, Aaron would catch him. And then next thing you know, Chase would pull away. Like if you look at the lap times, he would pull away. And then Aaron would catch him again. I see Chase kind of round around and then Chase would pull away. And when he wanted to make passes on these dudes, he just rode right around them. And I saw that turmoil as a rider where you use your skills to overcome a lot of things with the bike, but in the back of your mind, you ain't there. So Chase got around those dudes and he beat them because he's that good and he's still out there trying. But at the end of the day, said last weekend he looked lost. This weekend he looked lost, but it almost like he found himself lost, that he was just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to hit the SOS signal. I want everybody else to know that I'm lost. They're going to have to come find me. I'm not going to figure out my way. I'm not going to look at GPS and figure my way back to the shore. I'm just going to let everybody know I'm lost out here. So to make sure, I'm just going to float in the boat. And that's how it is. So if none of that makes sense to you, I'll try to explain it. He's still lost. And that's why I said, I'm like, man, I don't know, because I can't point to one thing on a bike that's like visually it just looks that bad to where what I see on the racetrack makes sense. But I do know, as a rider, you can overcome, especially when you're so talented and you're so smooth, you can outride and make things not look as bad as they really are. And not saying they are, it really doesn't matter to what we think. If he doesn't have the feeling that he wants, then more power to you, Chase, because at the end of the day, you're going to hit the ground and you don't want that. And the worst thing as a rider is not knowing. To me, again, it's a rider that it's like he just doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have the feel for the motorcycle. He doesn't have it. And therefore, instead of him crashing like he did at Houston, and then at the first race, when we're like last weekend at Triple Crown, where we're like, man, I thought he was going to pass Ken. And then he just disappears. What we didn't see is all those mistakes that he probably almost crashed. And he didn't want to be in that situation again. And again, when he is, we start blaming him and start looking at him like, hey, you go fast. You were catching Ken. You fell over like a wet noodle. We start blaming him. And I don't think he wants to be in that spot because it's in his mind, it's not fair. At the end of the day, it's still on you to go out there and do it. And I know all those guys from Kawasaki, it's hard for them because they're all working. The bike's not as bad as what it probably seems like. And especially after what happened with Jorge and Jorge doing his thing right now, it's a bad look for those guys. The bike's not that bad, but what Chase is looking for, it is. It doesn't matter what we think, and what we think the bike doesn't look that bad. If you as a rider don't know and you don't have that feeling, you ain't gonna go fast. And Chase Sexton being so good, he ain't gonna go that fast. And because he's so good, we're gonna start looking at it and nitpicking. But I would just tell Chase, man, look, just keep at it. Like, keep at it. You eventually find it. You eventually find it. The best thing you can do is what you're doing, man. Like, it's not what I want to see, and I hate to say it, but you don't want to hit the ground because like you're trying to, when you don't got something. Like I've been there before. Like, you know what? All this pressure, all this outside noise. You go out there and you be like, you know what? You don't want to look like that. So all I can say is just do what you're doing, man. Like, you'll figure it out. And I hope those guys do, because look, the good thing is you're still right there in the championship. You are. So you ain't losing points. You ain't losing points like, you're losing weight, like you're nervous or something like that. You ain't in that spot. So Chase, yeah, more power to you. I know you got the right guys to figure it out, and y'all will. All right. I want to talk about one more guy before I get into Ken Roczen again. Jorge Prado. A lot of people thought Jorge, what happened last year, kind of the Chase Sexton situation, like he's looking for something. Don't mean the bike's bad, but he's looking for it, and that team didn't have it. So he makes a change. I don't know why people think that what Jorge's doing is odd. It ain't. It ain't. Like if you go back to a couple years ago when Jorge came here in Supercross, I think I even said it. Like, man, that dude's gonna be good. Like he actually is really good. So when he's qualifying fast for practice and all that, it ain't shocking. If you're shocked, you need to watch the rewind show. Like, or you need to pay attention to what Jorge's doing because that dude is that good. There's some guys that they just got it. And he does. Like he actually does. He will get better. And I'm gonna be the first one to say, if he continues on this, I actually think he's gonna win outdoors. Like Jet's my boy. I actually really think those dudes will battle. And Jorge is that good. Like he really is. I mean, you go back to Southwick when he was going fast and he showed something, like he was there. No people gonna be like, Jay, what Jay, flip the channel. Subscribe. If you want to hear more craziness, just stay. So subscribe. Jorge's that good. Like I said, go back a couple years ago, like dude ain't never ridden Supercross and comes out here whole shots and doing his thing. And it wasn't that when you I guess at the end of the day, some people just look for speed and results and they determine how a rider is. That's not what I do. You guys know that. Like, that's not what I do. I look for all the little parts. I saw enough to know that that dude actually can ride from what I saw at Anaheim years ago. Just the way he was going around the corners, just his on offs, like certain things. I'm like, yeah, yeah, like he wants to, he'll figure it out. So coming in this Anaheim one after what happened last year, people just wrote him off. Like people thought it was like, dude, he don't got no business out here. Well, Jorge's making those people eat their words. And it's almost like if you listen to Jorge, he's almost like shocked that you guys think that like about him. Think because he knows how good he is and he knows again what he's looking for. And if he didn't find it, he's gonna find it. You knew coming in Anaheim that at the worst, he was going to be good at that race because he knew, look, I'm back here. I'm happy. I want to come out here and one prove to myself that I'm that good. Prove to a whole nation, the GP world is all looking at him. So there was a lot of pressure on Jorge, and if he didn't, then all those people that was crazy to think that he ain't that good would be right. Like they would have a leg to stand on. But when you look at Jorge's whole situation, it looks like he's riding with fun, right? He looks free, looks like he's having a good time out there. And I believe the reason is having Eli, all the KTM expectations on Eli. It is. And then so you have him taking all the, hey, it's all about Eli. If Eli don't win, oh man, this thing sucks. This, team's bummed out, whatnot. And then you got AP.
Oh,
AP's just good guy all general. Like good, bad, whatnot. It's like he's a great teammate. And then you got Jorge. So there's not a lot of pressure on Jorge as far as from the team standpoint. Yet when you get outdoors, it'll change. But right now, from the team standpoint, there's not a lot of pressure. So people think that, look, he's doing this because he ain't got no pressure. That ain't true either, because all the people that think that is the ones that put all the pressure. And Jorge, again, as I said, he's kind of surprised that you guys are surprised that he's doing this good. It's those people are there's a lot of luggage with him. And like I said, if he doesn't show up, then people are gonna be like, you don't belong. GP guys, they don't belong. They don't do this. Well, Jorge's doing exactly what I thought he would do. Like once he was comfortable, he looks good in the whoops. Like he is fast enough, literally fast enough to win races. He ain't winning because one, he hasn't got to start in the main event on the track that like he feels comfortable. I think this weekend, like he would have had a shot to win. Now, if he would have won, I don't know, because there is an experience that he does need to learn how to win these things. And that part you only get from racing. So he would need to figure that part out, which he will. He's getting better every race that he's raced, just racecraft wise. If you go back to the way Jorge's, I guess you would say the modern day GP riders, as far as senses, when you think about the way those guys programs are, right? They have a long practice, they have the Saturday qualifying, they got a lot of time on the racetrack. Like there's no rushing for them. Jorge is one of those guys, even when you watch him in GP, there's no rushing for him. Like when do you see a lot of those guys where you watch them and you're like, they're out of control? Like they're out of control. I was talking to somebody last weekend, they were like, man, I was like, man, Jorge, I actually really think he's got a good chance for like outdoors. Like he's solid. And somebody was telling me that, man, he gonna hit the ground. Like he ain't gonna make it. Well, I mean, yeah, it's dangerous. They all might not make it, but it ain't gonna be because he's gonna override it. Like Jorge does not look out of control to me. In fact, he actually looks the opposite. Like Jorge understands where his limit is, and he understands that when I'm not comfortable, I'm just not gonna go that fast. The good thing is he is that good that he's still a top 10 guy, even when he ain't, when he's just in the back. I think what happens is he'll take the chance or he'll go fast when it starts when he's up there. When I watch Jorge, he rides the same to me as the guy, and if he's winning or he's in 10th. That's kind of how he is. Like he don't really look like he changes that much. I think what he's struggling with a little bit, which is understandable, is Supercross is a lot tighter than motocross. And those guys are crazy back there. There's a lot of action. These guys bump you around for a 10th, 11th. Like it get a little back. Sometimes you be back there and you battling with Eli, you know, last few weeks. So he's got to understand how to race Supercross in the pack. That's the only part that I look at Jorge that he needs that experience. But as far as riding, that's why you look at him and he is fast in practice. That's why when you look at him and he holds shots, he can win a heat race, no problem. Like Joey Sabachi shot out. Joey rode good. Like Joey was solid, but Jorge's been doing that all year. Get him a start, dude rides clean, and he's not having to learn how to race Supercross because he can just allow his skills out there. So that's the up and down that you see. That's why when he gets a bad start, he's just kind of back there because he's trying to figure that part out. But as far as riding, that dude rides the same as when he's out front or in the middle of the pack, except for in the middle of the pack again, he's trying to learn how to race these guys, and that part is I just see a guy that's like you shouldn't be surprised. Like you should not be surprised how good he's riding. Now, yeah, as mentally, it is hard to overcome what he went through last year and all the pressure again of a country, nation, and all that. There's a lot of pressure on him. So it's really cool to see him overcome that. But then when you start thinking about it and when you listen to him, like he knew that was the problem. One thing as a rider, you don't care about problems. You don't care about any of that. You just want to know what the problem is. And Jorge felt like he knew what the problem was. And once he figured that out and he got on a different team, he was cool. So when you know what the problem is, it is easy to understand, like, okay, once you change that, you straight. You straight. Now, there's always problems. There's other things that come up, but it's when you don't know is when you get in the Chase Sexton spot where you're like, dude, I don't know. I just know it's a problem, but I can't tell you what it is because I don't even know what it is. Jorge felt like he knew. So that's why when you listen to him talk, he's like, y'all serious? Like y'all really thought like, these these shoes wasn't that good? So Jorge, man, he's doing good. And going back to GP guys, like they don't ride out of control. The only guy that I ever see that's like, damn, like that dude be on it is Tim Geyser. Tim Geyser is the only one that I'd be like, oh, like he be flying, like dang, like he really be shooting at. Every once in a while, February, he be getting a little crazy sometimes, but them dudes be rolling. Jorge, he don't ride like that. He didn't ride like that over there either. So he's not gonna be one of those guys that as he's riding that you're just like, oh man, he about to hit the ground. Like, oh man, he don't ride like that. So if he can get through this series healthy, just like every other guy on that line, I think the way Jorge is and his confidence and knowing that he would be more familiar on the outdoors, he'd be more comfortable as longer races, that dude is going to be good. So people, don't be shocked. Like, don't act surprised because Jorge is actually really good. We should have seen that a couple years ago. Like, if you know what you're looking for, you know what you're looking for. And Jorge, I saw what I was looking for. He had it. So good job. We'll see him up there. Back to Ken Roczen. I said, hey, Ken been riding the same all year long. Ken asked. Ken's going to be there all year. Like I feel like he is. And there's just something different. But Ken, I think he did this a couple years ago at this same place. He just like, I don't know, like it's like the seniors home, like the 55 and plus, some of the neighborhoods that like they got those big old walls for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Like they got them walls that you can't look in there. That's what it is. It's like that, the old man club. I kind of want to join the club, but I think I'm like too old for that club. But nonetheless, it is cool to see him, Cooper Webb up there, and Eli, some of the older guys out there. They just know how to get it done. Hey, older the bear, sweeter the juice, right? Whatever it is, Ken's doing his thing, and it was good to see the German chocolate out there. Hey, Ken, hit me up. Like when I go to the race, hey, hit a brother up. I'll get a seat. I'll get a seat. You keep winning. Like you're gonna have to give it to me free. You talking about you good, but nonetheless, Ken, you're doing your thing. It is beautiful to watch, and all these fans, I'm happy. The German chocolate out there throwing turn downs for what? Ken Roczen got to hit you with a neck burn. Please, neck burn, Ken. Good job. Wunderbar. Wunderbar. You almost died last weekend, but you came back and you were like, wunderbar. I got it done. Ken, great job with the neck burn. Sofa. And good. Get well soon, Mr. Larry Brooks. All right, people, let me do this real quick because it ain't much to talk about. We're going to talk about it real quick. Let me first by say, Max, are you okay, son? Like, you really like you riding hurt. I don't know what it is, but Max don't look the same. I feel like you are about that life, but man, you are struggling. So get well soon, mentally, physically, whatever it is. I want Max back. I want to be happy. Get back soon. Cameron McAdoo, hey, bro, you doing good, bro. I ain't lying. Like, you starting to look like, actually, you look better than you probably ever have in your whole career. And that's saying something because you got a lot of podiums. Cameron's doing a great job, looking solid, getting back healthy. Speed is good. Dude be flying through the whoops. You just got to open them elbows up. Him and Levi, man, they like tucking them elbows. They ain't road racing. Get them things up. But good to see you up. I salute your sister. Good to see her up there. But Cameron, honestly, you're doing good. Levi Kitchen, we finally seen the chef get back in the kitchen and cook some stuff up. I don't know what happened between that heat race and main event. He goes down where he was, but man, that's the Levi I know. That dude was rolling. He was rolling. Like, the mid, man, dude's corner speed. Made me want to get up there and throw the chef hat on and start flipping some cakes and all that stuff. But as good as that was, so, y'all, number one. He just whooping y'all. I don't even know what to say. He just doing it. And yeah, just like Eli and I said with everybody else, like it ain't the speed, like they close. And a lot of people don't like what Hayden be saying, but I don't think it's what he's saying. I think the fact that it's what he's saying is that everybody else is living up to what he's saying. Like that part maybe bothered people because it's like, all right, whatever. Like, hey, I don't like the way he is. He be talking too much. And yeah, sometimes he be muddling the line a little bit, but hey, we all muddle the line a little bit. But it's the fact that what he says is coming true and everybody else is believing it. And it makes you mad because you like, man, just do something. Just do something. Y'all know back of your mind, you be like, Levi, just go in. St. Louis him. Just go crazy. Man, Hayden ain't even giving you a chance. Dude, whole shots come out, hit that double in the first corner. Done. Race over. Let's go back. I ain't gonna sit in here. I'm not even gonna talk about it much. He just whooping y'all. I don't even know. He just whooping you. So y'all, Chef Ross like that, Chef gonna have a chance. But hey, you gotta have, to me, Hayden's on the level right now to where it ain't even just about, you could be faster than him. Like, you could be faster than him and you still might lose. Because he's gotten in the point where he just mentally winning. He just up there. Hey, what you worry about when Levi Cummins? I could care less. I actually think he could. Like, as a racer, you don't want nobody catching you. Hayden, he still got that ego where he want to beat everybody by 40 minutes. But at the end of the day, I can care less. That's the attitude that he got. Even though he be caring, he don't care. Like, that's where he's at because he don't care because he's still winning, right? So, hey, can't figure out the starts. Whole shot. All right, Chef is good. Whatever. I can care. That's how he is. So, Hayden Deegan, you just give him the business. I don't even really know what else. I ain't even going to say anything else besides, hey, get him with a neck burn. Another week, more dominant. You just whooping him. So, good job, Hayden. Keep it up. All right, people, that was it from Houston. Well, Houston. Actually, Houston, we got a problem. Actually, we don't have a problem because It's actually pretty good racing. So we saw German Chocolate do his thing. Hey, Deegan, Chase Sexton, Jorge, everybody else, Hunter doing his thing. Like, all kidding aside, good to see all those guys out there. It was fun to watch. So people, we'll see what we see next weekend. Seattle, big weekend for them all. Seattle Seahawks, SMX track crew. Good luck. Good luck. Y'all probably gonna have some balloons, some necklaces, and all that stuff. They're gonna be partying for days out there. I don't even know if the fans gonna show up. They might be hungover. So they did what they did. It was Super Bowl weekend. Congratulations to Seahawks, but we're going to see what we see up in Seattle. Whether we see a whole bunch of fans hungover, we're going to see what we see in Mother Nature. We know what she does. She don't care. She does whatever, but I do know the track can be as best as it possibly can be. We're going to find out what we find out. So till then, I'll see you next week. Same time, same place, right here on the Rewind.